Hey, it's Rob with Cherry City Guns and Ammo, and today we're going to talk about why I think my Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm broke and what we've done to hopefully fix the problem. So far so good. Stick around. So, the first time I brought this out shooting for, kind of an unboxing type video, I got maybe about 100 rounds in, and I noticed that I was having a hard time finding my red dot. And I noticed I had to turn it way to one side, and then I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. And then I shot, and I could see the whole thing, the whole red dot turned slightly. So then I looked at it like this, and the whole thing was cocked to one side, and I could see the head of one of the screws was completely missing. And my red dot is coming off. Okay. I just lost a screw out of the red dot. So I thought that a screw had backed out, although it was kind of confusing to me why that would happen, because I had Loctited it and then I torqued it to 15 foot-pounds as the manufacturer suggests. And like, well, that's weird. Well, I took the other screw out and I found out that screw had sheared. Not only had that screw sheared, it's hard to say, the plastic mounting plate was broken, and we'll look at that in a minute. So we're going to talk about how this all works for two different reasons. One, for those of you that aren't familiar with mounting red dots on pistols, and for the YouTube people that will invariably look through and analyze this video to make sure that I'm not shooting a modified firearm. This is not a modified firearm. It comes from the factory, machined out to accept red dots. The difference is all red dots have a different footprint, and so you have to have an adapter plate that goes between the slide of the pistol and the red dot. So it's all very specific. Well, lots of times most guns don't come with that mounting plate. You buy whatever mounting plate you need for the red dot that you're going to mount. This one came with a bunch. The only problem is they were plastic, which I thought was very odd. I'm trying to find it. So it came with this plastic mounting plate. And to make sure that the gun doesn't move around, if you look, this is the mounting plate. You've got a bigger hole here and a smaller hole there. Those are for these little posts that are machined into the slide that stick up. So there's a clear front and back. It can only go in one way because one hole's bigger than the other. So that drops onto the slide of the gun, and having those posts stick through keeps it from moving. Well, then this has two little posts that stick up that go into holes in the front of the red dot. So the whole point is you've got all these little machined posts sticking up from one to the other. It keeps it from moving around. And the screws, if it's done right, are simply there to keep the red dot from falling off. They're not supposed to be adding any shearing protection of any kind. All the wiggle is supposed to be taken out by the plate. Problem with this plate is the post on this corner, you can see completely sheared off. And this whole corner, it came off with it. And it's because it's plastic. I was concerned, to say the least, when I pulled these out and I go, the mounting plates are plastic. How is that going to hold up? Well, it didn't. After about 100 rounds, it was done completely. So what I bought is this new mounting plate. You can basically just see the front and the back of it. It is made by C&H Precision. It's about $50, but it is a machined aluminum plate. And I'll tell you, just dropping it onto the post and then dropping the red dot on top of it, without putting the screws in, there was zero wiggle. Obviously you could lift the red dot off, but any force, front and back or side to side, it was super, super rock solid. It didn't want to move at all. And that's how it's supposed to be. The screws are only there to keep it from falling off, keeping everything together. All of your wiggle is supposed to be taken out by the plate, and it is supposed to have the strength built into it to keep from shearing anything off. And with that plastic plate, it just didn't have the strength to do it. So we're what, 15 rounds into this plate. Let's put some more rounds through it. That first magazine was some Sig Sauer 180 grain full metal jacket. These are reloads. Somebody made a comment about my reloads in the first video saying, well, it's having problems feeding it because it's your crappy reloads. First off, my reloads aren't crappy. Reloads shouldn't be crappy. If your reloads are crappy, you shouldn't be reloading. Second off, every gun that I own, I expect it to feed and use my reloads. If they don't, that's a real problem to me. I'm not interested in owning a gun that can't reliably shoot reloads. Now the first ones were jacketed, and they were cast, and I have some more of them here today, and I'm going to shoot them today too. But these are Extreme Bullet Company 180 grain hollow points. So we're going to see how these shoot. I mean, racking it by hand, it fed just fine. But really what are we doing today is we're trying to see if this hollow point mount holds up. Because if it doesn't, it really has no value to me. So let's just have some fun and see how this gun shoots now that we've got a little more solid mounting system. And let's see if we can hit our hostage popper. Just a little bit low. I don't know if I'm hitting high now or what's going on. There we go. You know, this thing really has a great trigger. All right, so we're now 30 rounds into it. That red dot is just absolutely rock solid on there. And that had absolutely zero problems feeding those crappy reloads. I'm going to go load up some cast ones, see how it feeds and shoot those, and just continue to put this red dot through their paces. And I will tell you that my reloads are a little bit more on the warm side, loaded to true 10 millimeter pressure and velocities, because I don't want a 40 short and weak. I want a 10 mil to be a real 10 mil. And a lot of the factory stuff, honestly, is loaded down and is barely different than a 40 Smith & Wesson. I want a 10 mil that shoots like a true 10 mil. So I'm going to go load up some of those cast rounds. We'll see how they feed and shoot, and continue just to see how the red dot mounting system holds up. We'll be right back. Alright, so we've got 2 mags loaded up with my crappy reloads. That's 175 grain cast powder coated 10 millimeter. Like I said before, I load them a little bit on the warm side because I want 10 mil to be a true 10 mil. Let's do some more plinking around. Let's hit our Scoops TV plate. Don't really know what happened there. Loaded the next round, but it's like it wasn't cocked. Dead trigger. Got a dead trigger. Never went click. Oh, I do have a dent on the primer, so I guess it did try to go off. That's interesting. Well, let me check the other one, see if that happened with the other one. I had another one that was like that. I never felt it click, so it's like it wasn't cocked. No, yeah, I got a slight dent on that primer as well. So I'm wondering if these primers are too hard. They're not having any cycling or feeding problems whatsoever. Let's go down our plate rack. See, that did that again. Loaded and fed. Okay, so we had 2 of them. One of them happened twice that didn't quite want to go off, but that could just be the primer. Let's go to our spinner down there. See, that one happened there too. If the primers aren't going off, that is not my problem. It's not something that I caused. That one. So I'm having a hard time with my crappy reloads, and I'm not sure what's going on. Primers aren't going off. We're having no problem feeding though, that's for sure. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, I don't know if I've got a bad batch of primers. I don't know if they maybe absorb some moisture out of the air. There's another one. Huh. Oh, there's another one. So I'll have to try to get down to the bottom of that and see what's causing that. The only thing I could think of is somehow those primers have gone bad somehow. Those 10 millimeters I've had loaded for a while, but I don't know why that would happen. I'm gonna go to my Extreme Bullet Company bullets. Those reloads that I literally reloaded yesterday with brand new primers. I didn't have any problems with those. I'm gonna go to those and see if those cause the same problem. But the optic's holding up. Still rock solid. So that's 60 rounds. We're 60 rounds. Last time we got to 100 rounds and it was done. So I'm going to load up 2 more mags. That'll get us really close to where things went sideways last time. And we'll just see what happens. Pause it. Alright, so back in the day, 45 ACP and 10 mil were the same in that the brass only came in one variety, and that was the variety that uses large pistol primers. But today you never know what you're going to get. Both of those, you can have large pistol primers and you can have small pistol primers. And because I load on a progressive press and I don't want to get jammed up by having different size, I segregate my brass. When I clean it, after I clean it, I sort it, and I have tubs for 45 and 10 millimeter, different tubs for small pistol primer versus large pistol primer. And the ones that were having a hard time going off were all large pistol primer brass. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to imply in any way, shape, or form that large pistol primers are worse. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they were all the same. They were all the same, so that may have been just a bad batch primer. So far, all of these, the tub I grabbed yesterday when I was loading these up was all small pistol primer. And so far, all of these have gone bang. So we'll just keep on shooting those and see how the optic holds up, see how everything else works. You know, just for fun, I'm going to have my cameraman move this out to the 60-yard silhouette. Well, he's going to let me know when he's ready to go.
Ready.
Alrighty, so we're going to see if we can hit that 60-yard silhouette. I'm not seeing where I'm hitting, are you?
No.
I have no idea. Alright, we're not going to do that anymore because I haven't sighted it at that distance. So we're going to come back here. We're going to come back here to the close range. One of these days I'll sit with this off a rest and sight it at distance. But we know we can hit things up here close. We got a chunk of an old pineapple down there. I'm going to chew that thing up a little bit. Knock that down into bite-sized pieces for the deer out here. Let's hit our little spinner there. Wow. So far, except for shooting at long distance where I don't know what it's hitting, this seems to be shooting really well. Let's hit our old hostage popper up there. And now it's partially hiding. Let's hit our, go down our plate rack. Not bad. Let's hit our spinner. Let's hit our the little guy on top. Oh. I hit everywhere but it. I hit left, right, left, right, left, right. That's terrible. I never said I was an expert shooter, guys. I never made that claim at all. I just like it, and I come out here and have a lot of fun. Let's take a look at our optic. That is still completely rock solid. I feel no wiggle at all. So I think we're still doing good. I'm gonna load it up, we're gonna shoot some more. Okay, so we're 90 rounds in. I have 10 rounds left of this the Sig Sauer 180 grain full metal jacket, and I'm gonna do it rapid fire. I might not hit the steel every time. This 10 mil is pretty snappy for doing quick follow-up shots, but that's not what it's about. I'm gonna see if I can rattle this optic loose, or break screws again, or whatever I can do. You know, I don't want it to fail, but I want to try to do everything I can to try to make it fail. And if I can't make it fail without doing something absurd, then I'll be happy. But if it can't handle rattling off some heavy 10 mil rounds fairly quickly, then I honestly don't want it. So once again, we're just going for trying to rattle this thing loose, not necessarily accuracy. So here we go. Ready? I hit it once. Like I said, I wasn't even really trying. So that was 10 rounds, rapid fire. That's 100 rounds through this. And the optic is still rock solid. And I think the old one probably stayed rock solid also until the screw broke. But yeah, that's rock solid. You saw the first time I had my flashlight on here, my O-light. And I caught some grief about it from a guy that said that flashlights are for nothing but YouTubers and mall ninjas or something like that. And I disagree. I got that light because I had all intentions in the world of making this a nightstand gun. And as long as it seems to continue to hold up, that's what it's going to do. That's the role it's going to fill. And it's going to get the O-light back on it when I get back home. But I did learn that I'm not going to have the O-light on it unless it's next to the nightstand where I would be grabbing it and wanting that flashlight, because it sticks out further than the muzzle, and it got so caked with powder residue and it was kind of a pain to clean that I decided if I wanted to carry it ever with a flashlight, I would do one of the much more compact ones that doesn't stick out so far. But I completely disagree with the notion of only YouTubers and mall ninjas having a flashlight. For a nightstand gun, that's exactly what you want it for. Anyway, so far so good. I wasn't super happy the first outing. I think that Smith & Wesson failed when they included those plastic plates, because if you're going to include parts, you should include parts that have a reasonable ability to stand up, and those plastic plates are just garbage. They shouldn't include them. If you're going to have to go out and buy a quality one anyway, you know, keep all your cheap plastic plates and drop the price on the gun, or just don't include them and give us hope that they're going to work in some way, shape, or form. I'm a big Smith & Wesson fan, but the plates that came with it was a big failure on their part to me. If you're not going to have a quality product, don't put it out there. The gun seems like a quality gun. I enjoy shooting it. I'm a big 10mm fan. And so far it's holding up to anything I've thrown at it, except for that stupid plate. So if you were going to shoot, you know, open sights, or you just go into it knowing I'm not going to use those plates, I'm going to spend the money, get a good C&H precision machined aluminum plate, then just go in there and do that right from the get-go. Don't even mess around with those cheap plastic plates. And Smith & Wesson, if you see this video, stop including those, because in my opinion, I think you make yourself look bad by including something that is not going to work and that is of poor quality. it's kind of a disappointment to me as far as Smith & Wesson's quality goes by even including those and giving people the idea that they could rely on them in any way, shape, and form, and you just can't. They're garbage. I had that feeling when I mounted it, but I figured, well, they've probably tested it, let's give it a try. But no, it's not good. Don't waste your time. If you want the gun, it's a great gun. I really like it so far. I've only got 200 rounds through it, so we're going to keep shooting it. And I'll probably come back and do a 1,000 round review. Once I've got 1,000 rounds for this, I'll come and show you how well the plate's still holding up. And you'll have 900 rounds through it with this plate. I'll let you know how the gun's holding up after 1,000 rounds. But so far, the new configuration here with the better mounting plate I think is going to work and work well. I like the gun. I like the ergonomics. So thumbs up on the gun, thumbs down, really down on including poor quality parts that people can't rely on in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any interest in helping support the channel, it's absolutely not necessary at all, but if you want to, there's a link to my Patreon down below. I would greatly appreciate it. I've got a very small but very dedicated and awesome group of Patreons there, and I appreciate you guys a lot. You know who you are, and I think the world of you guys. And if you want to support in another way, that would really help me. Just like and leave a comment. Share it on your social media. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. All those things help me out a ton too, and I really appreciate anything that you can do to support. And thank you again. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.